you're working for somebody, you're getting a paycheck, you're not thinking about setting aside money for taxes. When you work as a W-2, it's automatically set aside for you. It's, there's withholdings, you fill out how much you want withheld, the whole 9 yards. When you're 1099, if you made $1,000 a week, they pay you $1,000. And it's up to you to set aside $350 or how much ever you're going to get taxed at to make sure you can pay it later. And we've seen situations where people come to us and they say, hey, I made 60 grand last year. I didn't even understand that I was being paid as a 1099. They paid me 60 grand. I thought that's what I was getting paid. Maybe my English
now
isn't
I don't
great.
have any money to pay my taxes.
Yeah, now I just got a tax bill for $20,000 and I just don't have $20,000.
Right. And in that situation, so let's explore that. They come to you, 60 grand, I owe 20 grand in taxes. I didn't realize I was going to owe this, is the business potentially liable if let's say they were misclassified and now you guys step in? Does that employer need to understand that when you're doing that, if you get caught in that situation, that what happens? So,
that's when you would go into this balancing test. So let's say that employee came to us and said, hey, I'm liable for this $20,000 tax bill. I got paid as a 1099. Maybe it was improper. So we would look at the analysis. We would look at the facts, and that's why we always say facts matter. Everybody's situation is different. We can't tell you on a video how you should.
Sure,
but
this isn't legal advice.
Exactly. We start looking at facts, and we say, okay, did you bring your own equipment, or did you just show up at an office and use all of their equipment? Did you have a non-compete? Were you allowed to go work for 10 other companies, or were you working on a project based and, hey, this is the project I'm going to do for you and that's it? Or were you coming in and working 9 to 5 or whatever hours you were working? Did they control when and how you did your work versus, hey, you could work anytime. If you want to work in the middle of the night, as long as you get this project done, I don't care when you do it or how you do it. Or do I need you here from 9 to 5? And if you leave at 4 o'clock, I'm writing you up. Right.
That sounds very much like an employee.
Right. And so if we get those factors and those factors weigh in favor of the person being an employee, well, then we'd reach out to the company and say, hey, you improperly classified them as a 1099. They're really a W-2, and you have exposure just like I have exposure, or just like this individual has exposure. And the way that the company has exposure is that they're not paying their fair share of taxes for that employee. Mm-hmm. So they potentially have liability to the Department of Labor, and they potentially have liability to the IRS. And that's when it really gets scary, because the IRS doesn't care, right? They're like, they come in and they say, okay, well, back in 2021, you did this. And so you owe penalties and interest on all those taxes that you should have paid in 2021 through 2025. Go ahead and write me a check. And
so even in the worst case scenario, as we were positioning it here, this, employee, we realize employee passes the balancing test. They come to you. We reach out to the employer. Oh, there's that $20,000 tax liability in year 2025 we're in right now. Now people are looking at, because now this has been exposed. Now we're looking back 21, 20. You've been doing this for years, and the IRS is going, where's our money? And this could be a really serious situation. Do you see this, crippling businesses and causing real issues for them? Have you been on that side of this and seen that?
I haven't seen crippling at least yet, but I have had companies come to me and, they say, the Department of Labor called me. They said that I owe this employee this much. And, I go over the factors with them. I ask them about their, business practice, what they do. And a lot of times, it could be an issue. So you want to work with the labor board and negotiate and get that case closed before they come digging. Let's
explore that side of it, actually. Let's keep going on that. And I, the question that I kind of have is, I think there's always a way that an attorney is going to be able to step in and support you and provide guidance and help you navigate a situation like that. But is there to a certain extent, like if the balancing act is really clear and you're getting these calls from these employers and they're going, look, I don't know what to do. Can you help me? And you're looking, hey, it passed the balancing test. Not good. You've been doing it for a lot of years. Not good. Are you sometimes just going, you're screwed? Or is there like what, or is there still a way that you can sort of support an employer that may have made this mistake either intentionally or unintentionally, and now they're looking for help?
We say you're screwed in a nice way, but we can help. We can, if it's one employee or a couple employees, they've made complaints and the Department of Labor has stepped in, we can fix that. We could, negotiate with them, figure out something, close those cases. And then we stay there and we can help you look at your all your employees. Who needs to be transferred to an employment contract or an employment agreement? Who needs to be paid on a W-2? Who really is an independent contractor that you can keep on a 1099? We always recommend to talk to an accountant because, we're not experts at that. So it's important that you talk to an accountant and make sure that you're paying properly. So yes, you might be liable to the few that brought up these complaints, but it doesn't mean that, going forward, your whole business is just going to crash and burn. We can help curb that and get you back on the right track.